This is The Shift. Each week, we sit down with remarkable people to explore their stories and the moments that define them. I'm Luke Nestler, and today's guest is Cody Thrasher, chef, entrepreneur, and restaurateur. All right, Cody Thrasher, Chef Cody.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Oh, make yourself comfy. Welcome to the van.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm excited about this. When we go fucking way back, you used to beat the absolute shit out of me in football. It made me question if I wanted to. I think you were a senior when I was a sophomore, maybe freshman. No, did you graduate with Channing?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so I was a sophomore and you were a senior. So we've known each other for a long time, dude.
Quite a long time.
Long time.
Woody also wanted me to tell you hello.
Yeah, dude, I love
absolutely.
Your dad. I think extremely highly of your dad. He threw some money at me when I was soliciting sponsorships as a kid trying to race my bicycle, and gave me some money and I put stickers on the bike, and then your dad just showed up to a race and watched in Fairmont, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And when I got older, I realized this is one of the most successful busy men in the state of West Virginia, and he just showed up to this grassroots BMX race in Fairmont to watch me and show support. It was cool, man.
This is the first thing he said today. He's like, I sponsored him, right?
He's still proud of it. I didn't even know he remembered that. That's hilarious.
Stuff like that's awesome. What I mean? You find an opportunity to do something cool, you do it. You get a little older, you start having a family, and you see how much those little moments can they mean something.
100%, man.
So,
well, dude, yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on the show. I called you and I was like, hey, I got this idea. I want you to be one of the first, few guests that come on. The concept of the show is it's called The Shift, and it's about the moments that make us. And I'm a firm believer that anybody that's done anything remarkable in life has overcome adversity that other people, average people, not that there's anything wrong with being average, but the average person would be greeted or come face to face with this adversity, and they would stay put. They wouldn't try to cross it because it's uncomfortable. It's hard to get through, whatever it is. And that's why there's people that just live average lives, and then there are people that live non-average lives. And it doesn't have to be those that are super financially successful, but your life is the furthest thing from average. And we're going to talk about it. So all of us that have done remarkable things have overcome some form of adversity, and that's what this show's about. So with me, I always like to tell the guests a little bit about my version. Let me start this timer as we're talking. Where this show came from was, obviously I'm a real estate investor, and I live a pretty wild life. I mean, we buy a bunch of homes, we renovate them, sell them, rent them out. I love what I do, but dude, this is a new life for me. I've only done this for about 5 years.
Yeah.
My previous life was I ran a marketing company, and I thought that financially we were doing well. I thought that I had everything I wanted, and what woke me up to it was a 3-year battle with infertility that my wife and I went through, and couldn't get pregnant, and I didn't think anything of it. I really didn't know that I wanted to be a dad at the time. My wife did, and
it's easy to kind of lean into that feeling too if things aren't as a certainty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
1 year turned into 2, 2 years turned into 3, and watching her go through just heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak made me grow the fuck up. It totally changed who I was as a man, and what it did was exposed how unhappy I was in my business. And most people probably would have just stayed and complained. It's, part of it, life's hard. Dude, it completely changed my life. It made me grow up as a man, but it also made me realize I need to get the hell out of what I'm doing. I ballooned up well over 300 pounds. I was not the husband I should have been. And it was all my fault, but it was all rooted in this business that I built. So that unfortunate, expensive, painful thing that my wife and I had to go through changed my life. That was my shift. So you've lived a pretty wild life. You've done a lot of things. You've been a lot of places. You've paved your own way, which I think is really freaking awesome. You've got a dad that has built an incredibly successful business, and you were like, I'm going to go a totally different direction. So that's why I wanted to have you on.
Yeah,
so for those that don't know who you are, maybe haven't experienced one of your culinary experiences at your restaurant, just fill everybody in. Who am I with today?
I'm Cody Thrasher. I own Cody's down in White Oaks in Bridgeport. It's hard to kind of put a label. We call it a new American cuisine, right? Half the menu is burgers and a ribeye, rack of lamb. The other half is dishes from places that I've been, things that I like to eat when I was traveling. I have a buddy who lives in Istanbul who brings over kilos of spice packs for me and stuff like that. We're buying beef from Jared McRae. We graduated high school together.
Wow.
It's just crazy to think like so many awards are in validation for the industry. In the beginning is amount of money that someone, especially a staff member, is making. And it's all about keeping people motivated. I can cook great food all day long alone, but I hire people because I need help. Paying them a little bit extra is important, I think. But you got to have people who want to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the first time, I kind of found that. So like I was saying, even though we are in little West Virginia and people kind of overlook us over the nation, whatever, do your thing. We have a farm that's within 3 miles that this year we're going to be growing all kinds of crazy stuff. So part of our chef's job is going to be to go on the other side of the interstate to the farm and go and cut all the stuff off for service and bring it in, wash it, prep it, and clean it. Wow. We're getting beef within 7.5 miles of where we are. It's like there's restaurants in major cities that can't do that and don't. Now there's a few that do, and obviously it's a fun thing to aspire to do. We won't match them at that level, but it's cool to think that, to be a pioneer, just to say, we don't have it here, so that's, that sucks. I never kind of subscribed to that. Traveling, seeing things, always jumping at the opportunity to do something fun.
Yeah.
I won't say his name because he might still work for the FBI Center, but his son and I graduated high school together, and he took me skydiving at 17. Said I was 18 at the time. Yeah, that's back in the day. Yeah, he had like twist cameras and stuff, right? Now it was a blast. And that kind of kicked off like a lot of fun. And I mean, the most recent one was, 6 months ago, I went bull riding.
Really?
Yeah, I went 4 different times.
You jumped on a bull and said, let her go.
Jared McRae. I went out there.
You went to Jared's, okay.
Yeah.
Jared, for those that don't know, Jared McRae is somebody that we both went to high school with, local guy. That's the farmer where you get your beef from, and he lets you ride one of his bulls.
I was ready to cook one after that. I'll be honest with you.
Did you just like?
Oh, I did a whole weekend.
I mean, would you just wake up one day and say, "Oh, wait, it's a class"?
So,
I know we're off topic, but we got to dive into this.
Okay, fair enough. The beginning of this started. We had our 20-year reunion, and it was either a group kind of went out to the bar, and I don't really drink anymore. You know what I mean? Just because when you're around it all the time, there's nothing new that comes from it anymore. Same thing, I blew up to about 400 pounds at one point, and we'll circle back to that later and kind of go along with what we talked about in the beginning. But I was out there for our 20th year, a little bonfire. I hadn't been to a bonfire in years. And everybody was drinking. I was just kind of chatting, and I started, blowing a little smoke. Look, these bull riders are a bunch of sissies. This is crazy. You know what I mean? I'll do this in a heartbeat. Don't even worry about it. Oh, yeah. I put my money where my mouth was, and I went there and I did it. My shoulder still, Jared, my shoulder might still hurt after all this time.
Dude, that's crazy.
It was awesome.
I think I'd rather jump out of an airplane than
What do you know until afterwards I was supposed to have spurs. Nobody gave me any spurs. Like, nothing fit me. I'm still obviously the biggest guy there. The next closest kid is 10 years younger than me. I shouldn't have been up there. It was a horrible idea. But I rode it 4 times. I was like, all right, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. It was good.
You rode the bull 4 times?
Yeah.
What's the longest you stayed on him?
Right just below 3 seconds, 3.32, something like that. Yeah, it was awesome. I had a great time.
Dude. Man, that's wild. So I think that if that doesn't set the theme for that's just how your entire life has been. So in high school, you did the traditional high school thing, and you were a big snowboarder. You played football, did track. And then after high school, take me from there to where you discovered food. Because again, you come from a family to where your dad is a very successful entrepreneur. Your mom's an entrepreneur as well.
Yeah.
But neither one of them are in culinary, right?
No.
Yeah. So take me from I guess where we kind of really like left off, which is high school. We've known each other for years, but like, it's just, I know Cody from high school, and then I know Cody's all over the world, and boom, there's Cody's restaurant. How did you discover food? Why did you go down that path instead of getting into the family businesses? Like, I know that's a lot to cover, so dive in wherever you want.
Absolutely. A lot of these things, and I'm a huge advocate of this now, revolve around my lack of quality sleep. So before I opened the restaurant, and at this time I had already had a food truck for a handful of years and traveled all over and had some nice write-ups and, you know, with a couple Southern Living magazines and cookbooks and stuff, which was super cool. I got my sleep under control. I got a CPAP. Then it made just a huge difference. Like, it changed the weight loss, how efficient I could be with things.
You just weren't sleeping at all?
I think I did okay, so I'm getting ready to go to Thailand, right? And to go kick around Southeast Asia till the money runs out, basically, because I had a handful of money I'd saved. I just like kind of that atmosphere of a restaurant, kind of matched my personality, which matched my lack of sleep, which was, I could fight a real intense battle today, but I don't have to plan for 5 or 6 days in a row because I'm not real good at that right now. But I can go hit it hard today, kill it today, awesome. Tomorrow, brand new battle, brand new day, ends at the end of the day. Great at that. And that's why I was drawn to the food industry. I like cooking. I like the fast-paced nature. I like the fact that people worked hard, you know, as a young man, which all still in my son's, like, a hard work ethic is awesome. Once you get a little older, you got to incorporate that smart work ethic as well, right? But that hard work ethic to me still is super, super important. I'm there all the time. You know, you got to lead by example. But I got lost there. Where were we?
No, you're good. So you were having a hard time. Like, when you say you had a hard time sleeping, like it must have been pretty severe.
So I took a sleep study before I shipped off to Thailand, and I was supposed to do a 2-night, but I did a 1-night. In 6 hours, I stopped breathing like 140 times or something insane, like qualified for oxygen. Wow. And then I finally got that CPAP. Completely changed my life, changed my outlook, changed my health, changed my focus on the world, because I realized I was just kind of existing. And every day was a trial by fire. And I think a lot of people are going through that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And kind of how you started in the beginning, you know, some people hit adversity and back away. I learned through that some people, the juice of what they see versus adversity is not worth the squeeze. They like to chill and kick their feet up, you know, over the weekend and just do nothing, sleep in. And that sounds horrible to me. Yeah. That sounds horrible to sleep in. If I'm sleep past 8 a.m., I feel like I've wasted half a day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, and it used to be that way. You know, that's why I was saying it's a whole new side of life. That sleep really made a huge difference. You know, it was a hard partying, a hard working, and a hard drinking crowd in the service industry back in the day. Yeah. There was a huge scene up in Morgantown at the time to where we had the food truck, and they were doing like the chef chop battles kind of style and packing out the restaurant with hundreds of people. Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, it was bad. The guys from Atomic Grill back in the day, they were putting it on with Mark Tasker at Table 9. We went against, I went against Chris McDonald. Okay. Von Blaze. Awesome dude. Yeah. Awesome dude. Great chef. There have been a Green Door place, which I'm really looking forward to checking out too. But they had Sargasso's or Stefano's or something at the time. We had the only food truck in town. It's like David Goliath situation, and we ended up winning, which was crazy, and it was an absolute blast. But those were the fun kind of early days, and then things needed to grow. I wasn't satisfied with just that. It became tedious. The amount of work versus the amount of money wasn't there for me. So I needed something new.
How did you discover food? I mean, was that there in high school? Like, you just had this like a fascination with it? Or, I mean, I know you had, so before you had your restaurant, you had the food truck, which is what you're referring to, but like, I mean, how did you discover that industry?
You know, my first job was at Twin Oaks.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Small restaurant in Bridgeport, been there for years.
Little place.
So that was, you just got exposed to it from being around there?
And there was something, I don't know, this cool mystique about these old Italian guys in the back just kind of like mumble to themselves and looking down the galley at you. And I'm 15. Yeah. You know, what do I know? And seeing Jimmy come in, and I was running the hoagies and all the pizzas, which for a 15-year-old, that line's they do a lot of business. They did a boatload of business back then. Yeah. And I liked it. You know, you got praised that evening. You did a great job. Felt good for your first job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only job I had before that was a fork caddy at Pete Dye. So you're just a target out there. They're just trying to hit you the whole time. Yeah, man. No, that was cool. Like, I really appreciate Jimmy and Chrissy Alapi were very good to me, and they taught me a lot there. And I learned from a lot of places, most places, what not to do.
Yeah.
But there I learned my core tenets of what to do.
Okay.
You know, Jimmy showed up every night. Jimmy worked a job every day, and he came there every night and worked. And he did it because it meant something to his family. You know what I mean? And he never, ever said a word about it that I ever heard. You know what I mean? And I think at that age I would have noticed. And I always admired that.
Yeah.
You know, he's cut from the same cloth as what I admire about my parents. My dad and my mom are business owners. They've been business owners. You know, an engineer and an artist. So it's a little bit of both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So, you know, I find that, you know, you think, do I have a creative side? Do I have an engineering based side? Where am I going to fall on this spectrum? And I find that I like a lot of temporary, natural, physical art, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether that be farming, food, I've really gotten into bonsai the last couple of years. So
like the bonsai trees?
Yeah, I fractured my leg like, I don't know, 2 months ago, like the little tibia on the outside.
Yeah.
Rappelling down to chisel one out of a rock face. Because it's called Yamadori, right? It's a weird hobby.
Where was this at?
This was down around the river in Morgantown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I don't climb up them, but I rappel down the rock faces. I'm not going to say I'm a climber. I'll say I'm a mountaineer, maybe. I'll say that. But no, it's cool. It's like, it's an interesting hobby. It's something that I find I need to set it part-time to clear my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you work at Twin Oaks, a little restaurant in Bridgeport, in high school that introduces you to food. But then, I mean, you didn't just like open a food truck and open a restaurant and go about it. Like, you, as people can probably tell already, like you do some wild things, off the wall stuff that like influences how you move in life and reflects itself in your business. I remember when you were traveling a bunch and like you brought back all these things that you learned and like cooking styles. Like, where did that come from? Is that why you traveled, with the intention of, I'm going to learn and come back and do something nobody's ever done? Or did you get influenced while doing that, and that's what started this?
You know, a combination of both. It all kind of started in college because nobody has any money. And my rule of thumb was, hey, if I can cook something in your kitchen, can we all eat? It's like, yeah, sure. I've cooked a free meal for everybody every night, right? And then we started having people like it. So we'd start having house parties. Hey, everybody throw $5. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine how that starts to snowball into a food truck. As far as,
that's wild.
Yeah, right. As far as the other cuisine.
That's how that started.
Oh yeah.
That's how the food truck
100%.
started. Because for me, like, we didn't like hang out in college. You were a little bit older than me. We knew who each other were, but like, it went from Cody to then Cody's got a food truck. Where'd that come from? That's how that started.
It did. It revolved around socializing, really. You know, like how can I be, throw a fun party? Well, cool. We'll do a big chicken parm night or something, whatever. But it got awesome. To the point that, I'm pounding, the guys are coming over after work. It kind of became a thing. It was a microculture in the town because a bunch of people were all the same age in a couple of years, all working in restaurants together, all going to the same bars to party, all going to the same house parties, all, early 20s. So it was fun. It was fun to do. And it was a way for everybody to, eat on the cheap. And it kind of became like a good crew of guys. Mm-hmm. One of them, my buddy Mike, who I had help me with that competition, just won award down in St. Pete for being one of the best taco guys down there.
Wow.
Yeah, killer. Riverside, California guy in a punk band, found himself in Morgantown. We became buddies. Yeah, he knows his way to my mom's house. You know what I mean? Like, hey, he's my homie.
That's crazy.
Love that guy. He's a great dude.
So when you started the food truck, did you start that knowing it would be hey, this is a stepping stone into, I want to own a full restaurant? Or were you just like, dude, I don't think that far ahead. I was just kind of in the moment.
I wish I could say I was more planning, but really I had just been traveling around and doing stuff for fun. And now, since I started the truck, a lot of it was revolving around food after that. But preceding that, it was just getting out there and exploring stuff. Yeah. People, I'm not going to be the person who wants to complain because I'm sitting here and there's nothing to do. It's like, we're going to do something. Yeah. With the food truck, I had just seen them other places. I knew it would work. It was, not so much money that I had to worry about a restaurant. It was a good stepping stone in a business sense. Thank God, because I know what I was doing.
Really?
Oh my God, I had no idea.
You went from just cooking chicken parm at a house party to being like,
yep,
you learned business. And
let's do it today.
I was
so nervous the first time I sold something. Oh, it was crazy.
Tell me about it.
Candace lately is a food blogger. I think she's at Charleston now.
Okay.
And she was real early in her career, and I had just started the food truck, and something happened where things went haywire, and it was one of the very first days. This is probably the most significant thing I remember. And she got the food, and I was really displeased with it, like with what happened, because I forget what it was, but it just wasn't up to par, right? And I just kind of started the first week. So she was pretty brutal with her reviews at the time with people. And I sent her a message, and I was like, I'm not going to ask you to change anything. I don't want you to do whatever you want.
This is a food reviewer that came.
It's a week too, yeah. Oh. Now she's still doing it down in Charleston. Okay. She writes a blog. She might even have a book or two, something like that. She's been doing it for a long time.
Is this the pepperoni roll girl?
Yeah, probably. Okay. She just wrote a book on that recently.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was pretty cutthroat at the beginning. And I said, leave whatever review you want. But for my own sake, I need you to come back and eat the food again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll pay for it. I don't care. Keep your review. Do whatever you want. I just need, sometimes you just got to do it right.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it costs. Just got to make sure it's done right. And that was one of those moments. It was pivotal because she even wrote in her review, she's like, I don't do this, but I went back and we talked. She explains the whole story on it.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was cool because, I was young. I was still learning. I'd never been a manager of anywhere before. I had just been a cook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just ready to go. So we started running that. Then I started having my buddies work for me, and it grew from there. Around that time, I started, you couldn't look anything up on your phone back then still.
Yeah.
So I went and I bought the Culinary Institute of America text from Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
And it still amazes me. I always think about this because it's like 800 to 1,000, maybe 1,100 pages, both sides, glossy photos. And I'm like, how much this would be at a university? Like a $1,500 textbook that I bought for $68.
So you're all self-taught.
Oh, 100%. I just bought the textbook and started reading it.
So what are your thoughts on, is that so my former life, when I was in the marketing space, I started as a video production shop. Mm-hmm. And there were guys that went to film school, and then there were dudes like me that were self-taught that actually made a living. Most of the guys that go to film school don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I self-taught, made a living, was a film producer, I did commercial stuff. Is that shunned upon in the culinary world, to where people that are chefs are like, you're only a chef if you go to school to be a chef? Because I don't buy that, because that's very similar to the film space.
So if you asked me early in my career, I'd say, I'm just going to wear a black jacket. I don't want to get wrapped up in that stuff. I never really had a feeling as if I was less than because I didn't go to school. If anything, it's like, well, I learned 2 years of your schooling with buying a $70+ book. You know what I mean? Like, if I can figure this out. It's not that hard.
Right.
It's just cooking. You know what I mean? But the gut feeling, the colors on the plate, those things are what really make the big difference in the end. Now the culinary crowd will have a different opinion, and they should. That's their world. That's what they're. They have a regimented system. They have a French brigade system. There are reasons and rules, and they have their purpose. They have their place in food, and
that doesn't exist very much in West Virginia. As far as the restaurants that are around here, there isn't really the culinary crowd. When I think of a true, and this isn't any disrespect to any restaurant, I love all the local restaurants, but when I think of just a unique dining experience, you're the only one I think of. There are other great restaurants. I love Muriel's. I love Oliverio's. I love. You go to New York, you go to Pittsburgh. There's all these different experiences on every corner. Yeah, you're the only true. So are there? I know down in Charleston, there's some pretty big hitters down there, but as far as up here, it's pretty unique what you've built. Are there a lot of trained chefs in North Central West Virginia?
There's a culinary school right there in Fairmont.
Okay.
And they do great work. They're turning out, every class is getting better and better and better. Genuinely. And
do you work with, do some of them come and
I
train?
have two working with me right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
2 of my 3 in the kitchen right now are graduates of the school. And it's the first time I've had that crowd in there. And it's nice because, they have pitfalls too. They have habits that are taught that I don't have those habits. I don't have to subscribe to the same rules so much as other people do when they're cooking, just in their gut, whether they're thinking about it or not. I don't measure anything. I don't write recipes down.
It's art. It's not a,
or if it's baking, it's chemistry. So altitude, humidity, everything matters. Depending on like how in depth you want to get, it is exact. It is not like for me. Hey, what is a recipe? A recipe is if you look at me and say, hey, if you had to write down how you made this, how would you do it? Like, I don't know. Have a couple of carrots. 2 carrots are different. They grow different. They're always going to grow different.
Yeah.
They're not going to cook the same. They're never going to cook the same.
Yeah.
One beet is not one beet is not one beet. You know what I mean? They're way, way, way different. So you got to be able to cook with your gut a little bit. You know, constantly taste little things. Understand like where acidity plays a role. Understand where, you know, like prime example. If you're cooking with lemon and you want it to brighten something, you should use it, but you shouldn't taste the lemon. It'll just brighten everything. That's that citric acid getting in there. You know what I mean? It's emulsifying with things. It's making those taste buds pop. But I go into black holes back in the day on YouTube of zooming in to foreign videos where there are no captions and everybody's speaking a foreign language. But I saw that old lady with 2 chopsticks fold a wonton. Really cool. And now I got to zoom in on that for 30 minutes until it sticks into my brain.
Dude, I love that. So your mom's an artist. That is the artist coming out in you. So it's
for sure.
I even hesitate to even say this because it's I'm not even on the same stratosphere. I like to cook. I cook for my wife and my little boy, and I'm good at cooking at my level.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't necessarily like to cook, nor is she. I mean, she does fine with like the few recipes she has. If I don't give her that, I'm gonna get beat when I get home, you know. But she loves to bake.
Okay.
Well,
cool.
we flipped rolls once, and I tried to like make a dessert or whatever. And like when I cook, I don't measure. Like I just cook the taste. I'm not even close to your calories. This is like me being like, yeah, I shoot free throws talking to Michael Jordan. I tried to do the same thing in baking, and being like, oh, it's close enough.
Yeah.
Like it said a quarter cup, like that's close enough. And dude, it just fell apart. So that's the difference between chemistry and I got you.
Yes.
All right.
Oh yeah. Cooking is all feel. Yeah. Baking is all chemistry.
Yeah.
Now like patissier, if you're doing sugar work and stuff like that, then that's a little less chemistry, a little more feel. Chocolatier work is big. You know, tempering chocolate, you got to have the temperature on those things. But all those guys are doing it by gut to a large degree as well. Yeah, the machines and thermometers. But when you get really good, those are there just for a safety net. You really have to feel for that. You know what I mean? So like cooking and stuff, I think people should cook more at home. I think people make it apt to be way more than it needs to be.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's so easy. I'm not intimidated by it. I know I'm not the best, but I've always enjoyed it. All right, so I want to make sure I get to a couple things here. You go from the food truck. That's where you kind of like you get your hands dirty. You're learning business. You're learning more about being a chef, running a kitchen. Take me from that jump to you're like, all right, I'm gonna do a restaurant.
Yeah.
And this restaurant's been there for how many years now?
This will be the 10th year.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
that's awesome.
Man, I appreciate that.
Most businesses fail after 5 years. Almost all of them fail by year 9. And you guys have been going strong. You've got a following. You've got a unique concept. Well, I don't even know if it's called a concept now. Like you do things differently than other restaurants. Yeah. What was that like making that jump? Were you married? Was it a big risk? Like you didn't have much to lose? So
I've been married for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. When I had that restaurant, I walked in, and of course, you know, I'm going to take guidance from the person I trust the most in that kind of world. It's my father. Yeah. So we went in, and it's total gravel floor. People were saying it's going to be this long to build out, this long to build out. We got it done in 90 days. From gravel floors to ready for service in 90 days, which is like unheard of. Yeah. So, you know, like a father should, he pushed you on the timeline. You know, get it done now, get it done faster, get it done right. And you can. People can often do that. So we did that. And it was a struggle in the beginning. And I mean, I was afraid that people would look in and see me sleeping in the booths. Because, okay, the first 2 years.
Were you?
First 2 years, I slept there 7 nights a week. Yeah. I lived there. I had a cot behind the bar because I was afraid people would see my legs sticking out from like the booths. So I just kept a cot in the bar. You know, our old pastry chef is coming to do a little bit of work. He'd made a lemon tiramisu for the Valentine's Day menu. And he was in there talking today, reminiscing about when he would come in and I'd be asleep on the cot and he would just be washing dishes by phone light, trying not to wake me up because he was a bit older than me, but he knew like what it takes to open
And you
the
had
shop.
a house, like you've had a house.
Yeah,
at more.
yeah.
It was just the level of commitment.
24/7. Like it, it's one of those things where probably what you're getting is you have to make that conscious choice. And I did. I chose my business. I chose my restaurant. You phrase it however you want, but the choice was that's going to succeed. I don't care what I miss. And I missed weddings and birthdays and all kinds of stuff. And I slept there and I had no social circle and I didn't take a weekend off for years and years. Up until, I don't know, a year ago, I was still working in 60 to 80 hour weeks. You know, I mean, that was with one kid at the time.
Yeah. Wow.
But you talk about everybody assumes that it's you love it. It's like I have irrational things I hate at my job just like everybody else does.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like lettuce and tomato and onion on a burger drives me absolutely nuts. I eat lettuce, tomato, and onion on a burger. There's no reason why it drives me nuts to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes no sense. So you got to laugh at those. It took a while to get there. You know, there was a time where I was just, quite frankly, I was ready to sell the restaurant probably about 5 years ago now. And I just had
just burn out.
I'm just tired. Like I wanted to do things. I didn't feel like it was being responded to the way I thought it should. And, you know, in hindsight, probably a little short-sighted, to be honest. And I just wasn't happy. I was burnt out. I was tired. I was coming home to a black house every night, no lights on, miserable, cold, working sun up to sundown 7 days a week and just barely making it still. And I just was like, you know, I had made the decision, all right, I'm going to run Sunday brunch service and put this thing on the market on Monday. But it was a hard decision. I was going to close for a month and go down and just travel somewhere and try to get my head right.
This is pre-marriage?
Yeah, because on that Sunday, my wife came in with her at the time. Her French grandmother, who this last year just passed away, but she was born in France and brought her meme in. She's 5'5" to that brunch, and I hadn't seen Michelle in a couple of years. We had been platonic friends all through college and stayed in touch over the years, and she just randomly showed up with that sweet grandmother and started dating, got engaged within a year, got married, and immediately had 3 boys in a row.
Wow.
So we're going to hit 5 years
Congrats.
Year. Thanks, man.
So what changed other than her coming into your life? Or if it was her, then what made that change of, I'm going to sell this thing to, and it seems like you were just like, it ran its course. You lost the passion.
Yeah.
That's not what I see sitting in front of me now. Like,
and that's the thing. I wouldn't even say like, I actually had, I talked to a younger chef on Reddit randomly. Yeah. Occasionally I'm starting to kind of check that out on the chef feeds, and the kid was feeling weird because he was going to quit a job. He's like, I feel like I'm quitting. I was like, look, if you're quitting, it's when you don't want to cook anymore. That's when you quit, right? You're leaving a job. That's okay. It's a business. You got to leave. You got to do what's best for you. And I wish I would have had that advice a little earlier on. I just took things so on the chin. I got burnt out. And, when you're not making any money, at least it doesn't matter if you are or you aren't, because, perception is, teach their own kind of thing. But to me, I didn't feel like I was making the money, definitely not the money I thought I was working to make. I had a lot more. I felt like I should be farther ahead. I always have a little bit of that feeling like I'm always a little behind. Big part of that's CPAP. Big part of that's because I want to get stuff done. I want to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Food's fun. I love it. Where I have an opportunity to do anything but Italian American, really, in our area.
Right.
So like expansion's cool. Expansion's easy. I've been checking out this Vietnamese. I saw when I was there last in Vietnam, they had this rainfall fried chicken thing where it showers down fry oil.
Okay.
Like a heavy rainstorm. And that's how they fry the chicken. So it's basically like butter basting the whole thing constantly. Wow. It's the most amazing thing in the world. Yeah, I was like,
so
oh my God.
Are you going to bring that
I don't know, maybe. That would be awesome. So I looked at the shipping costs. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I could probably open 2 restaurants, the amount of money it costs to get here. But, we have a window to open things up. And there are other areas of life that are more, more lucrative. But I also think that, it's cool to do little things around here. And if we're going to do it at our scale, we have an opportunity to really, push the envelope.
Yeah.
And so, for example, we're doing this technically a 6-course meal for Valentine's Day, which for the first time in, let's say, near a restaurant, I've had time to really focus on a meal. This is by far the most difficult one we've ever done. Right? Like we're doing really, really, really cool stuff. And at a price point with the goal of like, you crunch the numbers, you have pre-seeding, you know exactly how much money you're going to do.
Right.
And we're going to leave a couple grand on the table for 2 reasons. One, we're not going to rush people. And 2, for a long time, I complained about things being unfamiliar to the state when I should have said, well, maybe that's my job to make it more familiar. So we're going to do a price point where people can come in and have a meal and they get filled up, probably take the dessert home. They get their money's worth, because I know that's not always what a tasting menu is supposed to be, but who cares? They, make people happy. I'd much rather them say that was awesome, we'll do it again, instead of, hey, it was cool. I mean, I might do it again. Yeah. It'd be nice to have people jump at the opportunity. We put a cuisine cheat sheet on the bottom of the menu.
Yeah, I remember.
Best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I realize people want to try. They're just embarrassed of saying things wrong or looking dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So when you say cuisine cheat sheet, I know what it is because I've seen it. Explain what it is.
Yeah. So at the bottom of the menu, on a discrete, you got to make sure you put it on the bottom of the corresponding terms so someone's not flipping it over and over and looking bad. But it's just a quick key of all the different terms. Whether it's a spice in another language or a French or an Italian technique or what type of topping this might be. Any word that's unfamiliar, you can look down and get a quick little synopsis of what it is and put it into a frame perspective so you can see it and you feel comfortable ordering it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody wants to order something they don't know what it is. That's weird.
Did that come from learning that the product that you had was above the expertise of a lot of people coming in there and like getting feedback?
It's been a growing thing, right? So I used to list everything we were doing, and then I started not. Then I started just listing specific things. And even then it's hard to sell, Iranian food. People are just so unfamiliar to that, but I can do a dish has all the core things and just call it something else. And they'll like it. You can explain it. Every country has a starch, meat, cheese, veg, sandwich, taco, egg roll, whatever. Every culture has one, right? Even the Ethiopian have the bread they roll up with everything. So everything's pretty familiar. It's just tweaked a little bit depending on what grew native in your area. Mm-hmm. Well, we have a great area to grow things, which is why we're growing, all types of plants, indoor and outdoor, and try to get that stuff going too, and just provide something that's fun for West Virginia. We don't have to. Everybody wants to hold what they have in this state because they're petrified that it's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. And I'm just not going to live like that. I think that's crazy. So if nobody else wants to support it, we'll just do it so it's approachable for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I give our drivers little bites to eat when they come in the morning and drop stuff off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're... You have a unique outlook on pretty much everything. How you talk about sleeping in the kitchen. A lot of people, if they were like, yeah, man, for months, like I slept there, like your tone is like, it was like part of the adventure.
Yeah.
Is that just how you've always been? Is that how your dad and your brothers are, like your mom, or like, where does that come from? Because you don't say things that are actually hard and the hardships you've gone through. You don't talk about it in a tone where you're like, yeah, man, like this was rough. You're like, yeah, bro, I slept on a cot so that people didn't see my feet, and you're like laughing about it. So, where does that mindset come from?
For better or for worse, I just haven't ever had that give up thing in the mind where it's like, maybe, you're doing young and dumb, doing something young and dumb. Or, when it comes to business, there's never that thought of like, oh, I might give up. It's not a give up thing. Because to me, that just feels like such a weakness. I could never allow myself to do that. The thought never even pops in my mind. You know what I mean? That's just a big part. It's like, all right, well, this thing has got to succeed. There is no other option. Mm-hmm. This is the option. So this is number one. And until I can say number one taken care of, there is no number two. You know what I mean? That is no social life, no nothing. And I'm okay with that. It was worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to do something hard. Yeah.
I have friends that are entrepreneurs in the restaurant space, and I follow guys on the internet that are in that space, and some of the famous chefs, like whatever, like Emeril Lagasse and these guys, like they have different restaurants. If you go to Vegas, it's a great example. You'll go to 5 different restaurants that has the chef's name on it. Is that an aspiration of yours to have, have Cody's, but then like I've got this other concept that I really want to do? Or is it not necessarily that? Like Cody's that's your canvas and that's where you want to stay? Or do you have aspirations of, man, I want to do this pizza shop? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Side note, always had a great name for a pizza shop.
Okay.
What up, though?
What?
I'm telling you, it'd be fire. I'm telling you. It would just slay.
That's incredible.
If the opportunity in the right land presented itself, I'd be more interested probably in building like a strip center or something like that. And if so, maybe occupying one of the places as well.
There's your dad.
Yeah.
There's your dad.
Yeah, he's in there. We've had.
That's awesome.
I bet he asked about that. But it is, that development part is near and dear to the family. We like it and it's good for us. It's good for the state. I've learned a lot within the last couple of years working under him and beside him, learning from him and a lot of these other guys that are, top tier. I'm the first one. I love seeing a master of their craft. You know what I mean? I'm not the guy who's like, well, I could do that too. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Watch him do that. Watch her do that. They're awesome at it. You know what I mean? Like the women's hockey right now, just crushing people.
Yeah. Are you a hockey guy?
Yeah. Right now, I sure as hell am. Let's go ladies hockey. You know what I mean?
Nobody's
even scored on them.
No, it's been fun to watch. Men's starting in a couple of days.
They were fun.
No, they start today. The USA doesn't.
So I used to watch a bunch of hockey with my buddy Pete Noel, the one who lives in Istanbul, Turkey. He might be in UAE right now working, but he's an 84 PA guy who went over there and married a great girl, outkicked his coverage by a long shot. You know what I mean? We love her. But I've gone over there a bunch and seen him and brought stuff back. And he brings back all types of spices and things like that for me and things we can't have. I'm starting to grow this year. We're going to have probably like 35 different crops going.
Wow.
Just at the house, I probably have 35, 40 tropical trees.
Wow.
Mangoes, jackfruit, lemon, lime, orange, key lime, grapefruit. Right in Morgantown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I like it.
You come from a family of very successful people. Was there pressure on you? Not pressure, but do you feel like you and your brothers felt this obligation to whatever you did in life have this level of success? Because you're not blind to the fact, like as young boys turn into young men, like you looked at your dad and you knew like what your dad has built is not what the common dad builds. So did that spill over to where you guys felt in a good way or even in a bad way? Like there's a lot of fucking pressure, man. Like,
he never forced us to do anything.
Yeah.
Not really. Our mom didn't either. That's not really what moms usually do.
Yeah.
Especially my mother. But their whole thing was, I don't care what you do, but whatever you do, you better do it. Basically, the unspoken expectation was you better be really good at it. Yeah. Which means most things in life, if you put the time in and you work hard and you do what's right, when it comes to a business and operating one, you're going to be good at it. And that was the whole thing. A work ethic was core to everything. After that, it was, take on responsibility, grow something, make sure you have something to, move to the next generation. There's a level of responsibility there. And our father and my mother, to her credit as well, they both started their own companies. It's not so much like an inheritance or like an easy walk in. Like I think some people get confused. His father came out of retirement to come help him, which is pretty cool. So, it's a testament to him saying like, hey, I needed a helping hand. Everybody does from time to time. You got to look out because it's just the right thing to do. Yeah. And it really is. And I like the level of responsibility. I'm not wired to follow orders very well. I'm a great egalitarian, or at least I hope to think I am. But, I appreciate my staff. I make sure they know, hey, like if we have busy nights, you get cash tips. Like I tip them. Mm-hmm. I also remind them, if we have slow nights, we don't take money away. Mm-hmm. So realize, I have 3 kids and a wife, and I'm still making sure you guys are really taken care of because that means something. And I can expand and I can have other restaurants like that if I have these core people who trust me enough to say, hey, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm along for the ride. Yeah. And I got a couple now that I think have that potential in a couple of years. And maybe it's something that I open. Maybe it's something that, chef's good. And it's like, I'll back you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to be banging pans forever, but I like to go bang pans every once in a while. Let them know you can still do it. You know what I mean? Put a hurting on them.
It's that. When I go in there, you're always in the kitchen, which I think is, it's pretty
it's the only way to
remarkable to see.
Yeah. I am very proud of the fact we run a 100% drug-free kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, unheard of.
Yeah.
New generation doesn't party very much either. But, I love it too. I love it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's good. You go a lot of places coming up through, and that's a stereotype of, hey, you're supposed to beat the hell out of yourself if you're going to be a chef. You're supposed to work hard, party hard. And some of these old seasoned guys, when I go judge the culinary school, I'm going down to do one of the judgings at the end of March or something like that, down in Charleston. Some of those old heads that are there, they tell war stories of, they're in their mid 60s. So they're telling me war stories of their 20s and the stuff they used to do back in the cocaine rock days. Whew, boys, but it's a new world. Like, people don't take the verbal abuse. There is no point of pride, and there's no award for enduring undue punishment anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's really wise for people to see that. And I think it's wise for, like, if young chefs coming up can respect that, like, you tell me when to be here, I will work hard for you, but I'm not going to do anything outside of here. I'm not going to do extra shit. Like, I'm here for a job. Here's my job. Here's the time you have that you're paying me for. And quite frankly, it may not be ideal from the owner's perspective, but it's very fair.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. You work hard for me, I'll work hard right alongside you. That's why no matter what the restaurants are, I always have to have my finger on the pulse of them.
Yeah.
I can't be just the person who walks around and has a drink at the bar and leaves. I don't like that. I feel weird not working when other people are working.
Yeah, I respect that.
Just feel lazy.
Dude. Wild story, man. I appreciate you sharing. You've lived such a full life. I mean, like, most people, so many people haven't even left the region of the country that they've been in, and the fact that you've traveled and you've done some crazy things. So we didn't even get into a lot of it today, and you're still passionate about what you do, and now you're a dad. And
oh yeah,
what is the last thing I'll ask you? What is being a father? How did that change just your outlook on what you're doing, or did it?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I always wondered, you always thought it'd be cool to have kids. I'm wired for it. I'm built for it, man. I love it. It's the greatest thing in the world. Those 3 little boys are going to be rowdy. Rowdy. They're cooking, they're plating. The first thing they chewed was a lamb rack right on the bone, baby, all day long. We're raising carnivores around here. I love it. Every minute of it. They're down there with the pacifier in, yelling at the waitresses. Come on.
Awesome,
oh,
man.
It's the best.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Yeah, we're not going to respect child labor laws. Okay, they're going to work.
Dude, you're the man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Here,
this is a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
I love telling your story and whatnot, and I can't wait to come back into the restaurant.
Come on through. We'll take care of it.
The last meal I had a couple weeks ago was incredible.
Good.
Yeah, it was incredible. I think one of my buddies that was with us had a little bit too much to drink at the bar, but we had fun. And
hey, that's one thing. My wife, so she occupational therapist, but would leave and bake full time at Appalanti's. It's our in-laws own that place.
Okay.
Yeah, so she runs the bar, makes all the drinks and everything, and designs all those. But her whole thing is, we might charge you a little bit more, but you're going to get a punch in the drink. She was also a bartender at Mutts in college.
Yeah,
my kind of lady.
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate you.
Oh, man. That was good.
Good.
That was good.